Welcome to On the Chain.
So this story broke. It said Unusual Whales broke the story. It says breaking: Congress members reportedly tried to stop the SEC's inquiry into FTX as per the prospect. And we'll get into what the prospect's all about. Yeah. And with a March letter questioning the SEC's authority to inquire about crypto and in part FTX. 5 of the 8 campaign donations from FTX employees from 2,900 to 11,600.
Oh man. All right.
Rep. Ted Budd, one of the signatories, received $500,000 in support from a super PAC created by FTX co-CEO Ryan Salami. Here's the American prospect right here. Okay. Ideas, politics, and power. Okay. So let's just replace that with progressivism, leftism, and wokeism, because that's really what this publication is all about. The guy that runs this publication is called David Dayton. Here's some of the articles he's written here. Worst case scenario for the Republican House. Manchin decides to torpedo reform. You know, if you just dig a little bit deeper, you kind of see what's going on here. And the basically the crux of this article is that the Blockchain 8 that wrote a letter back to Gary Gensler in March of 2022, where they're saying they attempted to chill the SEC's information request to crypto firms. FTX was one of the firms.
So right away, Chip, I mean, one of the issues that we're having here, and we talked about it as we were doing the intro, people want to read the tweet. They don't want to read the article. They don't want to investigate further. And so the tweet specifically references the fact that they tried to stop FTX. That there was, they were, and even the title here, Congress members tried to stop the SEC's inquiry into FTX. Now, in the statement right below it, he already nullifies his original statement stating that FTX was just one of those firms. So they weren't, so this whole inquiry into a, SEC's information request, they were trying to block the SEC informal information request, not because of FTX, but because it was in general. And then as we dig into it, we're going to find the why. And then we're going to get the response back from some of the congressional representatives. So the big question is, Chip, and go, if you pull back up that tweet as we're reading through all this stuff and analyzing that original tweet. So the big question is would these congressional representatives decide that they had to bail out FTX, right? And they were going to do something that was that would enter into I don't want to say just a complete gray area, but could be considered an illegal request, right? And utilizing power because of money for power, pay for play for $2,900 for $11,600. Are they going to jeopardize not only their current career in Congress, but their futures over $2,900 and $11,600? So that's number one. Are these guys corrupt? Do they go out and do they have to beg for money? Yes, I mean they have to beg for money. So the question is, are they corrupt? Are they is there enough corruption within the houses of Congress that $2,900 is going to buy their vote or buy their action to then block an SEC inquiry? And I think that's something that we really have to dig down and think about, because as this is phrased, they're trying to put a spin on it that FTX, that these congressional representatives were somehow, responding to FTX, Chip, because of these small amounts of handout. Now, obviously, as those numbers grow, whether they have an R in front of their name or a D in front of their name, some of them got huge amounts of money from the PAC. And so then you have to go back and say, were those congressional representatives, was their timing, whether they're a D or an R, enough for them to respond to that FTX donation, again, pay for play, or was there more manipulation and fraud on the side of FTX that was playing the field and trying to, buy Washington in general and make it look like, they were doing something in favor of this specific industry, which is cryptocurrency. And we have a lot of entities out there that were fighting, Chip, on Capitol Hill in favor of crypto and trying to lobby Congress, and then you have those that are against it. So the question is, that pivotal role that FTX plays, was it there to manipulate the outcome and potentially dismantle or delay or destroy the status that crypto has or is trying to have within the U.S. market.
Yeah. The funny thing about this whole thing is that when you think about the blockchain aid, it's bipartisan, right? So it's D's and R's, both of them that make comprise of that, and the only ones for the last couple of years that have been trying to put crypto regulations forth, right? Some kind of, and again, the token taxonomy that Warren Davidson put out there, I think it's 3.5 years ago. Quite honestly, if that was passed, we wouldn't be having any of these conversations. It'd be all over. That SEC case would be done and never would, it would have ended immediately. But he wants to say, and by the way, one of those firms was FTX. And by the way, the whole crux of that letter inquiry, where because of the SEC going after blockchain companies, like, it didn't say anything about exchanges, okay? Blockchain firms like Library, like Ripple, like other people getting strong arm. Meanwhile, other things are skating through. You got Terra Luna that blew up, all these other things that happened. Here, let's look at this one here. So Ron Hammond, who actually was one of the, helped write that token taxonomy. He used to work with, he's at the Blockchain Association now, but Ron Hammond started out in working for Warren Davidson. And he said, let's level set. Okay. And that's a good way to start this off. Let's level set. And he's basically commenting on the American prospect down here from this article we just took a look at. In March, four Dems, 4 Republicans sent a letter to the SEC Chair Gensler regarding the Division of Enforcement interactions with the crypto ecosystem. Rep. Tom Emmer, who's the ranking member of the Oversight Subcommittee that oversees the SEC, led the letter, which is why that letter is sitting on his on the server under his name. Then the letter asked Chair Gensler 13 questions, including, well, how many questions did the SEC ask each voluntary document request the relevant entities? Has the SEC conducted a cost-benefit analysis to determine fairness and efficacy of its requests? In May, Chair Gensler then responded to the letter. Some questions were responded to at high level, some were not. Are we surprised? Not at all. In DC, this response, but not really a response, is pretty typical from regulators, especially if the opposite party leads the letter. So you can just see they were just BS answers. We covered it here as well. There it is right there. It starts off. Ron Hammond goes on to say the article highlights conspiracy theories of Gensler's ties to Alameda as a far-fetched, but then goes on to say that the members of Congress were potentially aware of investigations and were pressuring the SEC to stop, which is just as ridiculous of a logical jump. The bipartisan hearings in December in 2023 will uncover who knew what, if at all. And that's, Jeff, and that's really what it comes down to, right? These bipartisan hearings that are going to come up in December and into 2023.
It's a really big part of it, and so, the question is, and we're not going to speak for any of these congressional representatives to see what their motivation was and what's in their mindset, what are the things they're doing behind closed doors. None of us are going to be in a position to answer any of those questions. All we can look at is it becomes coincidence, and we know there's no such thing as a coincidence. Why is it that the very individuals that were fighting for regulatory clarity are also the ones that in this article are being singled out as the bad players here, the ones that were, trying to, defend or protect bad, FTX, and that's what they're trying to claim, is that they were singling out FTX specifically, when in fact that's not at all what they were doing.
Ron Hammond says the letter tries to place the blame through, though, on Congress ahead of these hearings, and it's fairly a bold claim. These have been a lot of bad takes and conspiracy theories, but fact-finding is needed. And that's good for Ron to kind of sum that up. And then Tom Emmer basically kind of came in here and he was answering it himself. He put this tweet out here saying that this was the original tweet that came out on March 16th. This is the whole reason that letter was put together, because Tom Emmer said, my office received numerous tips from crypto and blockchain firms that the SEC Chair Gensler information is reporting a request to the crypto community are overburdensome and don't feel particularly voluntarily and are stifling innovation. Now, stifling innovation, Jeff, let's talk about the innovation that's going on at exchanges. How much innovation is going on exchanges? You buy the crypto, they charge a fee, it stays on their exchange, and you move it off their exchange to a cold storage wallet. All right, now I'll wait for the innovation. What are they looking at here? They're talking about They're talking about blockchain, right? Talking about crypto firms. They're not talking about exchanges here. And it's pretty evident right here in this, right? And this is the burdensome stuff of Library that went in and talked to the SEC for 4 years. They got the Wells notice. They got sued. They lost, right? Ridiculous. And that is exactly what a lot of this was about. And if you go and listen to the testimony, and if you go listen to some of the hearings, this is a lot of what you're going to see that did happen. And then he basically quoted that tweet and added to it. He said, "We were concerned in March that Gary Gensler was taking an indiscriminate and inconsistent approach to oversight of the crypto community." There you go. There you have it. He says, "We're even more concerned as we've seen this strategy miss Celsius, Voyager, Terra Luna, and now FTX. Congress shouldn't have to learn the details about the SEC's oversight agenda through planted stories and progressive publications, and we look forward to Gary Gensler's public testimony before the Financial Committee." So there he is right there. Okay, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt. And if they fail to deliver, then the pitchforks and the knives and the longbows come out. But let's talk about what they've been talking about, and they haven't had the chance yet. But this is it right here. We look forward to Gary Gensler's public testimony before the Financial Committee, right?
And there's the issue, Chip. So you look at this and we say, how did Congress miss it? Is Congress the one that investigates? Is it their responsibility to investigate, or does Congress write the laws? Oh yeah, Congress writes the laws. They don't investigate. You know what the SEC is supposed to do? The SEC is supposed to investigate. The SEC is supposed to, have a gauge on what's happening in the marketplace. The SEC is not supposed to be taking punitive action against retail investors, but they are supposed to be monitoring these entities.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.